with you as well, so that you can use it to revise whenever you have issues, or if in case you have a job interview coming up, you can always use it. Also remember that it's not about going into details. You have to try to summarize things when you're talking, and yes, just to ensure that you meet to the time constraint. So again, we'll have 25 minutes for your presentation, and within 20 minutes I'll tell you you have 5 minutes left, and after that we'll move to my questions. So I know you have done a lot, and which is good, because I remember there was one of my interviews a while ago. I had done more than 8 projects, and I had a portfolio with more than 8 projects, and they gave me, I think, 20 minutes or 15 minutes. I think 20,
So
10 to 15 minutes to present what I have done. And you can imagine the speed at which I had to go, and certain things I just brushed over, while other things I really emphasized on it. But the questioning will enable you to actually go into detail about some of the things which you did not actually talk too much about during your presentation.
okay, so what is more important? Is it about how you uh, interpret? How can I put it? Is it how about you interpret your project to the interviewer, or is it about um, being more to emphasize more on the technical terms?
So it's it's both, I would say. So what this is trying to what the whole process of the presentation is trying to assess is, can you present technical terms to a non-technical audience? So
Okay.
imagine imagine I was a business owner, right? A business owner will not be so in-depth, will not know maybe the in-depth or the in-depth complexities of machine learning, right? So the business owner will, can you still, even though you have done so much technicality, you have so much technicality in your project, can you still be able to convey this information to a non-technical as well as a technical audience? So imagine you are in an audience in a company. Remember, in a company, as a data analyst, you will sit with data scientists, and you also sit with senior stakeholders who are not data scientists and do not have any idea about machine learning. You will sit with them in a meeting, right? You have completed a project, which obviously you had business questions from your stakeholders, and some of your stakeholders wanted you to answer business questions, and they don't know anything about visualizations or programming, but they just wanted, they just gave you some business questions and they wanted you to answer those business questions, right? So how can you present your work to both this technical and non-technical audience, ensuring that they understand exactly what you have done, the results you have achieved, and how you came about the results, and you have provided, and what recommendations you have for the business, for a both non-technical and a technical audience. So it's a challenging task, because sometimes you want to go very technical, but you have to keep in mind of time, and you have to also keep in mind the main thing: does it make sense to a non-technical or a technical, and a technical audience? And does that make sense? Yeah, so it's one of the key skills of a data analyst, being able to present to this diverse audience. So yeah, so anyway, do not think too much about it. Just do what you do. I'll give you feedback. Remember, after this, I'll provide feedback about everything you have done, and I'll provide similar to the feedback I provided to you. It will be very comprehensive. I'll tell you on things you did well, things you didn't did, things you can improve, and things you can work on. So do not worry about it. Just feel free, feel comfortable, present what you have done, explain it the way you believe I'm going to understand. So do not worry too much about that. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
works.
Yeah, so over to you. You can start, maybe you can share your screen, and after sharing your screen, when you are ready, I will start the timer and we can kick off.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen. Yeah, I see you have almost 64. Is it 64
Yes,
slides?
because I didn't like the first one with the house price. I left some of the screenshots of the quotes there.
Yes,
That's why.
yeah,
So
exactly.
if I
And
take them out, it might be around 30 or 20 something. That's why I was
exactly.
like,
Exactly. And things like the screenshots, you don't need to explain it, right? You don't need to go into details
okay,
of your screenshots, right? The screenshots are just there to provide evidence that you have done something. And during my questioning, I may go into in-depth technicality, then you can bring up the screenshot. So the screenshot is just there to support the fact that you know the technicality of what you have done. You did not just copy the the project from someone else. Yeah. So whenever you are ready, Lionel, you can start presenting.
okay, we can start.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Over to you then.
Okay, so now we are going to dive into the first project. My first project is unveiling house price markets using dynamic through data analytics. The object of this project is to create data set containing various attributes of houses, analyze, predict, and provide actionable insight on the house price. The tools involved are the Visual Code, we have Python programming, Python libraries, Jupyter Notebook. We're going to look at different trend analysis, line graphs, bulk charts, and bar charts. This is the screenshot of what data looks like. Now, the first step of data analysis is we need to prepare our data. And preparing our data, we need to do data cleaning. In the data cleaning process, we have to identify inconsistencies, handle the inconsistencies, and checking for missing values and handling of the missing values. Observations. The unclaimed data contain 1,460 rows and 21 columns with three data types: object, integer, and float. To extract the meaningful insights, to perform analysis and visualizations, we need to clean the data. To clean the data, we use a Python library called pandas. Now, after cleaning the data, we need to create a data cleaning pipeline that will enable us to automate the cleaning process whenever we are willing to clean a new set of data in order to analyze it. After the analysis, we have 1,457 rows and 21 columns. So now we are going to dive in the business questions. Business question number one is, how does zonal classification affect house pricing? As you can see in this box plot, these are the five major zonal zones that are being purchased in this house price. You can see that there is the high level of unpredictability in the RL zoning, which stands for residential low density. And we can see that the most stable zone is the commercial zone because of the smaller spread between the lows and the highs, as well as in the interquartile 75 percentile and 50 percentile range. Business question number two is, which neighborhoods or zones have the highest average house prices? You can see that those living in the floating village have average house price of above 200,000. Meanwhile, the commercial zones have a lower price of around 75,000. Now, the third question is, which property types are more popular among the different buyers in the zone? This is um, kind of a stacked bar plot where the housing style and the type of zone where the house is found are stacked on how many houses are being purchased in that particular category. So you can see that um, the one-story house for the floating village. Sorry, in a second. Okay, is the most purchased here. The next question is, how do seasonal trends affect house prices? Which season is more suitable for you to purchase a house, and which season is more suitable for you to sell a house? Especially for real estate agencies where they are looking forward to make profit on their investment. So we can see that the lowest lows here are months between April and May, where you can purchase a house for less than 175,000, and the highest highs are between this is September and November, where you can sell the house at above 195,000 and above 190,000 the months of September and November. Now, the first question is, what is the average return on investment for different types of home improvement? So in order for us to determine that, I created a dictionary comprehension. You can see in the screenshot, which we find the columns where data types are either integer or float. Now, after getting that, I created an empty list where I will store the average price with the data condition and the average price without the conditions. Now we can see that there are the different features and their return on investment. We will store it in the data frame, is the return on investment data frame, and sort the values in ascending orders. So this is the visualization on which section of the house creates more return on investment. You can see that the highest return on investment are houses we have garage cars, the number of cars your garage can take, followed by the total basement surface, the total amount of space you have at your basement, followed by fireplaces, kitchen above ground, half bath, full bath, and you can see that bedroom above ground has a negative percentage. Is that is you don't get you instead lose money by increasing the number of bedrooms above ground. The other question is, why do house price vary by the year the houses were built, which dates from around 1960 to 2000? You can see that there is a continuous trend in the house price. There is a continuous trend in the house price, but as from the year 1980, you can experience higher lows, higher lows from the year 1990, from 1980, sorry, which means that as the years are going, the average or the minimum amount required to purchase a house keeps increasing. This could be due to economic conditions, inflation, which makes cost of living more expensive. Now we're going to look at a merge of the data set and the yearly GDP. Now, this is the GDP of the United States from year 1960 to 2023. As you can see, this is a continuous rise in the GDP per year, which is in tens of trillions. As you can see, it's one, the exponent 13 is in tens of trillions every year. So in order for me to compare the rate at which house price increasing and the GDP of the United States of America, I needed to first of all look at the average price of houses as per the year they were built. Now I created a variable that will create a data frame that will match the average price and the US GDP data. Then I will create a plot for them and distinguish the lines with a red and a green line. So here is a visualization of how the GDP varies with house price. You can see that it is pretty similar to how the average house price varies per year. Now, unfortunately for this data set, the house prices last year was 2010. Meanwhile, GDP was up to 2023. But based on the trends that we are observing, it's easy for us to anticipate that between 2010 continuously to whenever the world is about to come to end, that, that the house price will keep
Increasing.
increasing,
Oh,
fortunately, as time goes on. Now we are going to move to the modeling. This is a baseline model regression. Observe the various features that are affecting the house price model and to determine which features are most suitable. So we have a training score here of about zero point 0.7 as well as a test score. Then we have our second model, which was a decision tree regressor. Training score did close to 1, but the test score did 0.66, which means that the linear regression actually performs better than the decision tree. Then we have our third baseline model, which is random forest regressor. Training score 0.967 and test score 0.828. So from this baseline model, we can observe that the random forest has a better performance in terms of the test, which means that the random forest is able to better accommodate the different features, given that it has different tree depths. So in order for us to perform proper modeling on our data, we need to go through a data modeling pipeline. In this pipeline, we're going to look at feature encoding, data splitting, feature scaling, and feature selection. So in feature encoding, we are going to be changing categorical values into numeric values, as you can see. Then in data splitting, we are going to split the test set from the training set so that none should have an effect on the other. Then we are going to do feature scaling. Then after scaling the feature, we are going to do selection of features and modeling. But in this model, I selected all the features to build the model and to see what the result is. So here is the model which had a training score of 0.97 and a test score of 85, which is a random forest regressor model. Now, you have to look at the importances of the model. Which features have more importance in building the model? As you can see, the garage car has the highest importance, which further ties into the first one of the business questions where you can
yeah.
see the garage car is the highest return on investment.
Investment.
Yes, which means that garage car is a very key factor. You have the year it was built, first floor, and total surface above the total basement surface. So now, in order to get more optimized version of the model, I did a grid search. So a grid search is like an automatic way of getting the best features and the number of splits, the number of estimators, and the depth of the trees that can be used to get the best model prediction. So the performance of this model gave us 0.93 and 0.84. Now the importances of this model changed. You see that the importance of this model changed,
Yeah.
where total basement surface is the most important, followed by the year built and garage cars.
Yep.
So the girls reshuffled the positions of
Yeah.
this one because they still remain the top three importances. Now I decided to conduct a test on the model with synthetic data. So I created a synthetic data. I imported I imported the cleaning pipeline.
Yep.
I did data cleaning. I did the modeling pipeline. After performing the model, I predicted a new set of sale price where I have put them in the
Okay.
square in red here. And this comes to the end of the first project. Moving on to the second project, we have predicting student final grades using socio-economic and academic. Develop The aim of this project is to develop a predictive model that leverages socioeconomic and academic factors to forecast student grades. We have tools, Visual Studio Code, Python programming, Python libraries, Jupyter Notebook, Excel, Google, ChatGPT. We're going to perform regression analysis, comparative analysis, and correlation analysis. The unclaimed data consists of 395 rows, 33 columns with two data types, object and integer. Follow the same steps we did in the previous project where we used data frame to build to clean the data, sorry. After cleaning the data, we still had 395 rows and 33 columns, which means the data was already clean. Here's a screenshot of what the data looks like.
Nice.
So we are going to now dive into the business questions. What factors contribute most to student academic performance? Now, from this correlation analysis, it really tells you what this data is about. You can see that the previous academic performances have a high correlation with the final grades. Meanwhile, other socioeconomic factors like the age of the student, the parents' education, travel time, don't really have an effect on the final grade. So we are still going to dive in more into this.
Mm,
Here we can do a correlation coefficient where we are looking at which correlation matrix have the most impact still.
mm.
You can see that other than the academic performances, we have father mother education, study time, and family relationship. To further dive into it, we have the next question, which what is the effect of parents' education on math grades? You can see that for the mother's job, a student whose mother works in the healthcare services has a higher average that compared
Oh,
to other jobs. Also, we can see here that the father's job, where the father works in an educational institution, has the
like me.
higher, yes, has the higher chance. So what can we see? We see that
Interesting.
a combination of
In
the father working
healthcare.
in education and the mother working in healthcare means your child is
Yeah.
said to be academically potent.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
We dive into the next question. How does parental education level affect student performance? Now, here we see that the parents who went for higher education, which are level 4, have a higher chance of their children being academically performant. Even in the correlation analysis, we see that the education between mother and the father have a 0.61, sorry. It means that there's a high probability that if the parents are educated to the highest level, then they will be able to educate their own children in the proper manner.
Yeah.
Our students who receive additional support, family support, more likely to be on better. You can see that there's no really big difference if you have family support or don't have
Mm,
family support
yeah.
because you see the average grade is 12. It's just between 10 and 12,
Yeah.
which means that with family support or without additional support, you will still be able to
Yeah.
perform.
Yeah.
So, what is the distribution of final math grades? Here is the
Nice.
histogram which shows the distribution of final math grades. Now, you can see that this line shows where the more data points are concentrated. Now, the higher the line, the higher where the data points are concentrated. You can see that between the mark of 8, 12, that's where most students find
Yeah.
themselves. That's where most marks are being concentrated,
Yeah.
which means that students tend to perform averagely between 10, between 8 to 12.
So, yeah.
How does study time affect the grade? Study time is a key factor in education,
Yeah.
in anything, because the more you practice, the more you're able to enhance your skill and the more you're able to season your craft.
Yeah.
Now, in educational system, they usually say a good study time is between 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
You can see that the study time of 1 hour. the student is between 4 to 20.
Yeah.
The study time of 3 to 4 hours, you can observe a significant
Yeah.
change where the
Yeah.
average or the lower mark is around 8,
Yeah.
which means that the 3 to 4 hour study time is suitable in order to grasp more material and replicate it when necessary.
Yeah.
What are the patterns of student absences and their impact on academic performance? And here we then need to draw a map for you. The more you're absent from classes, the less you'll be able to grasp. Now you can see
Yes.
students who have up to 20 or more absences.
Wow.
They have around 4.
Yeah.
But now, if you look at other marks, you see that this is not really a factor.
Yeah.
There's some students, like here, you see a student with 12, then with 10, but they
Yeah.
almost have the same absences. So you can clearly see that academic performance does not really depend on socioeconomic factor, but it depends on the student's ability to assimilate and replicate material which he has grasped.
Yeah. 5 more minutes.
Wow. So alcohol consumption has impact on students' academic performance.
Yeah.
From the floor, you can see that academic performance does not really tie in with the consumption of alcohol. It does not have a real impact on academic performance. Okay. Now, this is a hypothesis test. I wanted to know if participation in extracurricular activities had any impact on the students' performance. And from
Yep.
the calculation that I made, which I failed to reject my new hypothesis, which means that students being involved in academic activity in extracurricular activities or not, they can still be able to perform similar to a student who is involved in curricular activity.
Wow.
So now I did something. I did model with socioeconomic factors only, and I did a model with some academic grades. So
Yeah.
if you look at where there's only socioeconomic, which are the parents'
Yeah.
activities during the day, the model had a test score of 0.15 and the
Yep.
training score was 0.2. Meanwhile, if you consider G1 and G2, which are previous test results, model has a training score of 0.86 and a training score of 0.70. So this
Yeah.
already indicates that the economic indicators do not tell you much about a student's academic performance until a student is
Yeah.
put in the conditions where he can showcase his ability or his knowledge.
Yeah.
So the same thing for the random forest model. Now I get the importance of the without socioeconomic and with academic
So,
but
yeah. Academic.
yes. So you can see that the academic strongly dominates
Yeah.
determination of how students can perform. Similarly, I did just the feature importance comparing those of the linear regression with those of the random forest,
Okay.
which you can see that second second semester or second period grades count absences. The reason
Yeah.
why you're going to the institution is it because it's closer to your home? Is
Yeah.
that one and the age and so on and so forth. So, what are the benefits and disadvantages of using these models? Linear regression, the benefits of interpretability, efficiency, and it is well suited for linear correlated data. Now, the
Yeah.
limitations is the sensitive to outliers. It assumes linear relationship, reducing accuracy with nonlinear data, and it has poor at handling feature interactions and nonlinear dependency. Now, for the random forest, we have benefits like it captures complex and nonlinear relationships, reduces the overfitting, it provides feature importance, access feature contribution, and the limitation is computationally expensive for large data sets and can overfit on noisy data or with over GP trees.
Yeah.
What are the challenges I faced in data analysis in making these projects? The first challenge I faced is encoding, which is changing calculated data into numeric data, and handling
yeah,
outliers and missing values. So the solution I used for encoding was you have to create in the pipeline, you have to create a loop for analyzing and handling missing values. I learned that you have to prioritize data exploration and pre-processing to ensure optimal model performance.
mm,
Challenge number two was the many features which are potentially relevant and
relevant.
facing the risk of overfitting.
Yeah,
So I had to conduct important analysis to focus on high impact features.
yeah,
So I learned that feature selection methods enhance model efficiency and
um,
interoperability.
yeah,
So to come to the root cause analysis and solution, we
yeah,
have data exploration, examining the feature distributions, the
yeah,
correlations, and checking for inconsistencies. We have model evaluation and
yeah,
training a model, actually using the grid search tree to find which model is most optimal, and then addressing the overfitting risk by monitoring with cross validation and
yeah.
controlled model complexity.
Messages.
This is the end. Thank you.
This was extremely good, Lionel. So before I go to my questioning, I would just like to give my feedback first regarding your presentation. This was an exceptional presentation, honestly. And um, I would say you should honestly. I wouldn't. I know you like cybersecurity. You want to go for cybersecurity, but what you have presented and how you presented, how your thought process, I would say you're a data analyst, like you're a born data analyst. I would say you're a born data analyst and a potential data scientist in the nearest future. And honestly, your slides are well organized. Your presentation was clear and easy to understand. Your business questions have impactful rationale. So you see the reason or the potential. If you answer this business question, you can see the potential to the business and the value to the business. And you went out of my expectation, even like you did some very good segmentations where you analyze like the mother factors compared to the father's factors, which was remarkable. And honestly, this is my feedback for your presentation. You have understood what it means to be a data analyst, and you clearly demonstrated that and explained that. And it even you were quite scared of explaining and saying the technicality, but you actually bridge that gap between technicality and non-technicality, because it was extremely clear for me what you have done, the impact to the business is. In fact, I was much more, I wouldn't lie to you, I was much more interested in the student analysis. I remember very clearly when we got the challenge of the model not being very accurate. And but you can actually see that it's not just about the accuracy of models. There are so many insights you can get from the data analysis
Yes,
before the
yes,
machine learning. And you even got more interesting insights in the student. And I think for people who watch this, there's a lot of application for people who are going to who are going to schools. A lot of people have children, and you see a lot of useful insights from that, which obviously I would really encourage people to watch that student part, because I think people who are teachers now will be looking for women who are in health science to
yes,
actually
yes,
get married
yes.
to them. And it's so interesting to actually see what has been done. Obviously, again, there are limitations. Obviously, you are, I think you are aware of the limitations. This is regards to the data you had. It doesn't mean it's generalizable to all
Oh,
students
yes.
in the world. And it's for the maths. Again, it was a maths course, and it doesn't mean it's generalizable to all courses in the world as well. But this is remarkable. And obviously I really want to give you like a hand, like I really want to give you a hands of applause again. And well done, well done,
Thank
well
you.
done.
Thank you.
Yes, well done. And again, I would really encourage you, think about the data analysis, because with
No,
this
I'm
I
thinking
bet.
about it. I
Yeah.
just, I just want to have somewhere. No,
Yeah.
no, that's why I was asking for the unsupervised learning
Oh,
so that I
yes.
can,
Yes.
because I've heard
Yes.
about TensorFlow,
Yes.
PyTorch.
Yes. PyTorch.
So I'm just
Don't
trying
worry.
to
I will guide you
have
throughout
one foot
what.
somewhere, one foot somewhere, so that
Yes,
eventually
exactly.
I can fall
But the
somewhere.
good thing is they are transferable skills. So
Yes,
what you have
true,
learned, you
true,
can
yeah.
transfer it in cybersecurity as well, because in cybersecurity you can have data about security risk in the company. And imagine
Yes,
a
it's
company
data
hire, yes,
security as a domain.
you understand?
Yeah.
Imagine, yes, it's
So
data
yeah,
security. Exactly. Imagine a company will prefer to hire someone like you with more technical skills in data analysis and as well cybersecurity than hiring someone who just knows cybersecurity. And obviously, I'll guide you. I will be with you in your future journey in terms of advancing or continuous professional development. And really, this is really impressive. And we'll talk about that later. But I just wanted to say that before I move on with my questions. So I'll stop recording this session so that we don't have two very long sessions